Lovely shot from Miyazaki, who was saying that both players are quite comfortable, having played for a few weeks now since the return of tennis, and you can tell from these first few exchanges, can't you?
You definitely can. I think this point is pretty much typical of how Lily's going to want to play. She's going to vary it a lot with the slice backhands, taking it, as you can see, well inside the baseline. I think she's going to try and use Grace's power and be able to use the angles as well quite a lot.
Piper was very good at doing that in her semi-final, just making your player run a little bit more than they really want to and get them out of position. Miyazaki forcing a break point in the opening service game of the 17-year-old.
Pretty sure that was wide. I'm not sure if that was my eyesight.
I'm surprised that that wasn't called, personally. Miyazaki guessed the right way, but wasn't quite sure what the shot was, I think, there.
It's a great serve right into the corner. I don't think there was much she could do, and Grace knocked it off nicely. Shame. She knew what she wanted to do there, and it would be a good confidence boost to hold on to this first service game for Piper. It's always good to try and get that first game under your belt. You don't want to get broken, and especially when you're the underdog, you do want to get a good start. So this game could be crucial.
And the longer this goes on, the more important it becomes mentally for both players, doesn't it?
It really does. Grace will feel like she's kind of gotten out of one here after having saved a few break points, and Lily will probably be a little bit frustrated that she wasn't able to capitalise on any of her chances.
seed Miyazaki with a second chance to break the serve in this opening game, which has been going on for about 7-8 minutes now. Important first game of this final. Getting nervy. I am, not them.
Kind of felt like that was coming, didn't you?
Yeah, that is kind of why I said getting nervy. That is a shame to end that first game on a double fault, and it does mean a break of serve for Lily Miyazaki, the top seed. And one of the things that I have found interesting about Miyazaki is she hasn't always played that well this week, particularly yesterday. She wasn't playing well, her serve really wasn't going particularly well, but she still won 6-2, 6-2. And all the way through the week, she said she hasn't felt as if she's been at the top of her game, but she still comes through all the matches.
She does, but I think the thing with her game is that she's so solid, and even, you know, if she isn't striking the ball as well as she maybe wants to, she's able to just make a lot of balls in court, and she moves well, so it's tricky for her opponents to sort of find weaknesses in her game.
I spoke to Miyazaki after her first round match, and she said that all she's been trying to concentrate on since lockdown is just basics, service and return. Going back to those basics, I suppose, because you just have had such a long break.
But they're such a crucial part of the game. If you're not making any first serves and not making any returns, you're not getting into the point. So.
Bit of luck for the teenager there, just popping over the net with the net cord.
Beauty of having such a loose net, they just sort of die when you hit the top. Should be aiming there more often.
I'm starting to see how Miyazaki plays, always on the front foot, fairly aggressively.
It's so nice watching her because she's kind of different to any other sort of play. She is able to have that variety, but she also just takes it so early, and you can see the way she stepped into that backhand and took it so far inside the baseline.
Okay, Miyazaki. Miyazaki leads 2 games to love, first set.
As you would expect from the top seed, just making sure sensibly and calmly that she holds on to her serve for a 2-love lead in the first set of this final, the women's singles final. And the LTA British Tour return to elite competition. It is week 4. And they've had a bit of practice on these courts over the last few weeks, playing most weeks both Miyazaki and Piper.
Love 15. 30.
Piper did mention when I spoke to her quite early on off the first round, I think it was, that she's just still getting used to the experience of this, having cameras around, having to do interviews and everything that goes with the tournament. There are high-profile people around. We've got all the top players here ready for the Battle of the Brits tour. She's playing in front of, not a crowd, because it's behind closed doors, but high-profile people.
It does make a
Adds a
difference.
bit of pressure, doesn't it?
Yeah, I remember when I was that age as well, and you aren't used to these sort of things. It can be quite overwhelming, and I certainly didn't like playing in front of crowds when I was younger, and TV interviews and things like that. So, you know, it's going to be an invaluable learning experience for her to gain the kind of comfort of playing in front of people, playing these higher players. Obviously, she probably has never played someone as high as Lily. So, you know, anything she can gain from this is brilliant.
Particularly having reached 2 finals in the last week. Excellent experience for Piper, who is just 17 years old.
Again, Miyazaki. Miyazaki leads 3 games to love first set.
And that's a real disappointment. Both of her service games so far, Piper, have ended on a double fault. But part of this, you were saying Miyazaki is ranked 351 in the world. That's the highest she's been. Actually, lockdown came at a fairly bad time for her because she had just won her first ITF 25k event on the 8th of March, so right before tennis stopped. And she will have wanted to build on that, wouldn't she?
Yeah, you kind of work all the time to create momentum and gain wins, and she was obviously on a great streak, so lockdown probably came at the worst possible time for her, but she's clearly sort of picked up where she left off.
And for Piper, sorry, I was going to say, for Piper to play somebody of that experience is important, and that's part of the reason the LTA have put these events on.
Yeah, you know, obviously at her age she wouldn't necessarily get the chance to play in the bigger events where she would be playing people of Lily's ranking, so for her to be able to kind of compete against this level is brilliant, and you know, it's kind of showing her what she needs to work on and what kind of the level is that she's going to have to reach. So, but it would be nice for her to get on the board right now. The pressure's going to keep increasing if she can't get that first game.
Right, Miyazaki to serve 3 love up in the first set.
Love 50.
She's always in the right position, I find, Miyazaki. Her footwork is excellent.
She knows exactly what she wants to do as well. You never look or get the impression that she's flustered. She's just here, just look at her, so calm and just giving herself such big margins. She's not giving herself any pressure or anything.
This is an important point for Grace Piper, her first break points of this opening set. Think she'll step forward, take it early.
I hope so. They always say that fortune favours the brave, so I hope she doesn't wait for an error from Lily.
Oh, first one gone. She still has another opportunity to break the serve here. The top seed, Lily Miyazaki. Lovely play from Miyazaki, drawing her opponent in. It was great for Piper to even get to that volley, but as you said, Miyazaki knows exactly what she wants to do next.
You got the impression that she just had her on a piece of string in that rally and was just toying with her and then just dink that backhand down the line.
2 break points for Piper have come and gone. Excellent play from Piper there. Almost looked like it was going to go the same way as the previous points, but Piper coming out on top this time.
I was getting deja vu, just thought this forehand was going to sneak into that gap, but Grace did incredibly well to somehow reach this backhand volley and control it.
Lovely volley. Guides those shots so well, Miyazaki.
It's not like she generates a lot of pace either, but she's just so accurate with that down the line backhand. There's nothing that Grace can do.
It's a shame having got into such a good position again.
So Lily's just showing her class again and showing that rankings difference.
Good for Piper, though, to get a longer service game on the Miyazaki service rather than letting her run away with this. Not won yet at all, but having lost both of her own service games, Piper, at this hopefully will give her a bit of confidence. Great point from Piper, 17-year-old, the under-18 Junior Nationals Championship winner this year, and that would have gained her a wild card into Wimbledon's main draw for qualifying. So this was an important year for her.
Should be frustrated that COVID happened.
Fourth break point. What could she do this time, particularly after that rather weak attempt from Miyazaki?
Not enjoying the umpire's call there.
Yeah,
I think it just clipped the edge of the line, but you kind of want
shade. It's difficult to tell, isn't it, with the sun just coming out and disappearing and the shadows on the court.
I think she was hoping to give the umpire a nudge in the right direction to get a favourable call, but I believe it clipped the outside of the line.
Darren Michaels, umpire, who had a lot of conversation with Henry Patton during one of the semi-finals yesterday. I think I'll just leave that at that. Just say that.
We've definitely all been there.
It was an ongoing conversation during the whole of the match. Henry Patton involved in the men's final against Charles Broom, which you can watch on the LTA's social channels if you want to see the men's final. It's over on Court 1.
Miyazaki leads 4 games to love.
That is a real shame for Grace Piper. 4-love sounds a lot more difficult as a obstacle in this first set than 3-1 might have been when she's now serving.
It also doesn't feel like a 4-love in this opening set because the games have been so close. But like we said before, I think that the longer it takes to get that first game on the board, the more and more pressure you do feel when you get a game point.
Great shot. Despite being 17 years old, though, Grace Piper not one to panic. She did say that she had a tough semi-final, which went to a match tie-break, third set. Well, not third set, match tie-break. That she just had to concentrate and take each point, and she doesn't seem to be somebody who worries too much. Despite this display from Miyazaki, the top seed, I think she'll be working out what she can do to get back into this.
I think the most important thing now, sort of at the end of this set, is whatever the outcome, even if she does lose at 6-love, it's just kind of remaining calm and realising she is doing some good things out here. It's just a couple of points here and there. You know, this easily could be 2 games all, so just for trying to remain as calm as she can and try and not get down on herself.
Well, this is dangerous. Having said it didn't feel particularly like the scoreline was reflecting what was going on. Suddenly, love 40. And 4-love down already. Grace Piper in this final, the first set. 3 break points to the top seed. And how difficult will it be now for Piper, having not won any of her service games in this opening set, Anna?
It will be tricky because she has had chances, and obviously, unlike that last game where it was fairly routine, you know, she will feel like she's in this game, which is probably the most frustrating thing for her, being 5-love down. But from what we saw at the start, where she was trying to be the one dictating a few more of the points, you kind of seen Lily's able to kind of put her mark on this first set. She's been taking the ball a lot earlier, and you do feel that Grace is stepping further and further behind the baseline and letting Lily dictate. So I think she needs to try and go back to what she did at the start of the set and be the one to try and dominate, because if she carries on like this, that, you know, I don't think there's any turning back for her.
One of the reasons that the LTA has put this event on is for the players to really gauge where they are, for the younger players to work out where they are in their career, and for the older players to show that they are at the point for the right reasons. And I think that this, I suppose, in the first set so far is explaining that, isn't it? Showing it to us.
I think you can see from the ball striking, they're pretty much on the same level. That's not the issue out here. It's just more the sort of the match play and the match IQ that Lily's showing out here that Grace maybe doesn't have, just purely because she doesn't have the experience. So you hope whatever the outcome of this match, she's going to be able to learn a lot from it and just see that maybe she just needs to play a little bit smarter, because she does have the ground strokes for it.
Miyazaki serving now, 5-love to win this first set if she holds on to her serve here. She has had a very dominant run through this tournament so far, a much higher seed at 351 in the world than many of the other players involved this week at the British Tour.
think this will be her 4th 6-love set of the week already, which is quite impressive.
Touch of frustration, perhaps, coming into Piper's game, just because she's not being able to play the way she wants to play.
It does look a little bit that way, but I think this is the tricky thing with playing Lily, is that she doesn't do anything incredibly well. She's not going to hit you off the court, but the kind of the cumulative pressure that she creates, and you feel like you have to go for more and more, you're kind of noticing that in the errors that Piper's making.
Shame. And that brings up 3 set points for Lily Miyazaki. Well, the top seed showing why she is the top seed, why she is ranked 351 in the world and had won a 25k ITF tournament just before lockdown in March. 6-love the first set to Miyazaki. And what does Piper have to do now to reset mentally and physically to get back into this match?
She just needs to almost forget what happened in that first set, just kind of take it as a warm-up and just try and blank it from her mind. I think she needs to try and remember what her game plan is out there, because, you know, we saw in that set, if she lets Lily dictate what she wants to do and take that ball early and inside the baseline, she's just going to have her on a piece of string. So I think the important thing for Grace is that she tries to maybe, you know, do exactly what Lily does, stay a bit closer to the baseline, try and use those ground strokes a little bit more, because you could see in a few points early in that set, when she had her on the run, she was having a lot of success, but she just wasn't able to do that enough throughout that duration of the first set.
And the difference in the stats isn't huge until you get to the total points one, and obviously just getting break points, which Piper wasn't getting to that situation. And you do feel that if she did get to that situation, she might have some more luck. Just to keep you up to date on the men's final, which is happening over on court number 1, Charles Broome has just broken Henry Patton. So Broome has a 4-2 lead in the first set of the men's final. That's over on court 1, and you can watch it on the LTA's YouTube channel and on their Facebook page. You can keep up to date with that, and I'll bring you the scores throughout. But this is now the start of the second set of the women's final. Piper is a set down and serving at the start of the second set. Piper maybe needs to think about her second round match where she knocked out the second seed. Vic Allen played very well, 6-2, 6-love, a really dominating performance there.
Yeah, she needs to try to channel that as well. I think in that last point you saw, she was the one who stepped up a little bit more, got a bit better depth on that backhand, and that's something that she's going to have to do. Maybe try and take a few more risks out here. Struggling though, she's not going to make too many first serves.
gift from Miyazaki. At least this might help Piper hold her serve for the first time in this match, and that will help with the confidence.
You all feel like a weight has been lifted off your shoulders.
C15.
Lovely angle on the backhand from Piper.
First game, seconds.
Could hear a little come on at the end at that point. It was, you could tell, I think she was quite relieved to finally get that first game, and this is where the kind of the momentum of the match can change. It's funny when you win that set 6-love, you think it's going to be pretty routine, but as soon as you can get that first game, it wouldn't surprise me if this was a close second set.
We are behind closed doors at the National Tennis Centre in south-west London. Feel that there might have been a big applause if there had been a crowd for Piper finally getting her first service game and getting on the scoreboard there. But there are very few people around here today. Well, what she said.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
C-love.
Behind closed doors, as I mentioned, and the players fetching their own tennis balls. No ball kids here, no lines people as well, as you can tell. The umpire calling the lines. Things are a bit different as we try and get competitive tennis back. If we get the chance, we might talk about what might be happening in the next few weeks, or might not be happening in the next few weeks when it comes to international tennis. These events being put on by the LTA to allow British players to compete safely in a safe environment behind closed doors, and also to earn some money before international tennis returns, which should be happening in the next few weeks.
In theory.
Piper should be sensing a slight opportunity here at 30-all on the Miyazaki serve. She hasn't had many chances. Palermo, the WTA tournament, is supposed to start on August 3rd. That would be the first of the big tournaments to come back, wouldn't it?
I know, it's sort of only a week away. It's crazy to think that the tour could be starting soon.
And then potentially we have the American swing and the US Open to come if it happens. Washington has been cancelled, and I guess we'll hear in the next few days if that is all going ahead. Steers those shots so perfectly. Lily Miyazaki, the top seed here, is already a set-up 6-love.
Just the balance she has on those shots. You can see that here's a prime example, just stays over it so well.
Out. Miyazaki. 1 game all, second set.
Just a reminder that you're watching the LTA British Tour return to elite competition. This is week 4, the final leg of this swing. The women's final between the top seed, Lily Miyazaki, and 17-year-old Grace Piper. Miyazaki is a set-up. 1-1 in the second set. I'm Carthy Jana Seagram, and alongside me, Fed Cup player Anna Smith.
Love. Ball. Out. Ready, love.
Miyazaki doesn't even get particularly rattled about calls that she's not happy with, does she?
She just sort of stood there. I think she did think that was going to be called wide. She sort of didn't really play the shot.
Piper's first serve really hasn't got going during this match at all, which is a shame.
Yes, it's not been firing in the slightest, and when you're giving Miyazaki serves to kind of look at that, the way she can take it on so early, you know, she's going to have to find a way, whether she just takes a little bit of pace off that first serve just to make a higher percentage, but yeah, Lily's just taking control of those second serves, and I'm not really sure what she can do if she doesn't start making a higher percentage.
And her serve has been working quite well during the rest of this week, which is why I think she'll probably be quite frustrated about the serving today.
It's the thing that you want to bring out your best game at the right time, and unfortunately the first serve's gone missing in the final.
She's played a lot of tennis over the last few weeks, Grace Piper. She's played in all 4 weeks of this British tour that the LTA has put on. Those second serves, though, that's really letting Miyazaki take control of the points.
You can see she's almost like halfway to the service line when she's returning these serves. It's incredible how early she's taking it, and then it just gives her so much momentum, and Grace just doesn't really know what to do. She kind of can't get a foothold in the points. But that shows what she can do when she does land a first serve. She obviously gets a shorter ball and is able to knock away that forehand, albeit very close to the line.
Piper does like to take an early ball as well. Both have a similar style on that front, don't they?
They do. It's just that Lily's been slightly more effective with it today.
You can hear the frustration in the teenagers moaning to herself, a little mumbling to herself, just trying to spur herself on a bit, get herself back into this match.
Oh.
Miyazaki, top seed, getting another break point to go 2-1 up in the second set, having already taken the first set 6-love. She's broken Piper's serve 3 times already. Michael's filling us in on the score there, which is very much in favour of the top seed, Lily Miyazaki, 2-1 and a set-up. If you can hear a bit of shouting from elsewhere, then there's a bit of tennis happening around the rest of the National Tennis Centre at the moment. On the court 1, Charles Broome is facing Henry Patton in the men's final of this LTA British Tour, and Charles Broome is 5-4 up and serving now to take that first set. You can watch that on the LTA's social media channels. You can keep an eye on it. It's a very easy link from Twitter, from the LTA's Twitter page. We'll tell you where to go to watch that. But here on centre court, Miyazaki, the top seed, firmly in control here. But Piper, just despite the score, doesn't seem that far away, Anna.
No, she doesn't, not at all. I think in that last game, Lily sort of went back to what was working for her in that first set. But like you said, it doesn't feel that Grace is too far away. If she can just try and string a few points together, you know, the momentum of this match could change.
It's also a match where we have a match tie-break, so all Piper has to do, she says, is stay in the second set, win the second set, and then it's completely start again from scratch, penalty shootout situation with a match tie-break.
Absolutely. The mentality does change, you know, when you lose a sort of set 6-love and it's the normal format, you think, oh God, I've got to win 2 more sets here, and it can be quite tough, but here she knows she literally has to focus really hard on this second set, and then like you said, it's a match tiebreak and it's anyone's.
Up 15. All. Let's see 50.
Miyazaki doesn't give a lot away in her playing. Composure, you can't tell that much from her face, but Grace Piper tends to be quite a smiley character, so you can sort of tell from their demeanour at the moment what's happening.
She's not too smiley at the moment though, is she?
No. It's not really going her way.
Miyazaki leads 3 games to 1. Second set.
It's only 1 break of serve though in this second set, and from the way that Piper is playing, if she starts getting her first serve in and can hold her serve, how does she then break the Miyazaki serve?
I think for me, it just seems that she's being a little bit too passive. In that last game we saw there, when they were kind of getting in the rally, she was sort of dropping it on the service line, and when you're doing that, Miyazaki is just literally moving the ball from side to side, and she can't do anything. And again, there you can see that Grace always seems to be on the back foot. There needs to be some sort of change here. I think it looks like it's just going a little bit too easy, and Miyazaki is just dictating all the points, and Grace is just not getting a look in.
And is that Piper having to step up and she needs to be more aggressive now, or is she just not being allowed to do that by the way Miyazaki's playing?
I think it's a mixture of the two. You can see that she isn't being aggressive enough to put pressure on, but also Lily's not giving her the chance, because as soon as she does get a short ball, she's stepping in on it. That was sort of the prime example. You sort of see that Grace was trying, but because Lily's so adept at being able to step in and use the pace, she's able to just guide the ball and move it around. And then sort of Grace is sort of stuck, and she doesn't know what to do, and then she overpresses, and then she makes an error.
Yeah, this is running away from Piper a little bit if she's not careful.
Again, it's just those first serves that are costing her. She's not getting into those points. Second
serve just not enough to let her get into the points properly as well, which gives another 2 break points to Miyazaki for a 4-1 lead in the second set.
There you can see what happens when she is able to actually generate a little bit more and get a little bit more depth on that forehand, that she does bring the error from Miyazaki, but it just hasn't been happening often enough.
Well, the first serve, a little bit of pace taken off that one perhaps, and that brings her from 15-40 to deuce.
She can somehow find her way out of this game, it would be huge. Instead of being a double breakdown, she can just keep it at that single break. Anything can happen.
Piper being made to work hard to keep her service, hold her service in this second set. That's much better. Might lift her spirits a little bit as well. A shot like that.
Again, you heard another come on at the end of this point. I think she realised how important that was. She just needs to find ways to try and replicate that point on a more regular basis.
She's had 3 net calls, I think.
I think the net's trying to help her out a little bit here and make this match go a little bit longer.
Yeah, well, the net just helping Piper at the end of that, which means that she only has that 1 break of serve now in the second set, which could make a bit of a difference. And she had a really tough semi-final, which she dropped the first set on a tie-break and then took the second set 6-2, and then the match tie-break 10-3. And she felt like she really worked her way through that. She was saying that she just had to play every single shot. And that's kind of what she has to do now. Think about the way that she's playing this match.
She needs to remember what she did in that last game, I think, especially from those last few points anyway. She was a lot more aggressive. She tried to dictate. She, you know, maybe hit the ball a little bit flatter, took a few more risks, but it's something that she's going to have to do. Ultimately, if she just wants to rally with Miyazaki, it's not going to quite do it out there. So try and take some confidence from what she just did and try and keep doing it, because, like you said, that it's just important to stay positive and stay in that moment and just play it point by point.
Well, this is the women's singles final from the LTA British Tour Return to Elite competition in week 4. After this, we started a little earlier, as you may have noticed if you've been with us over the last few weeks. Started a little earlier this morning because after this we will have the one-day doubles event, both men's and women's LTA Fast 4 format. And that will start from midday onwards. So the women's singles final is happening here on centre court, and over on court 1, if you want to watch it, is the men's singles final between Charles Broom and Henry Patton. That's on the LTA's social channels. But it is now Lily Miyazaki, the top seed, to serve 3-2 up and a set-up. That's the little come on that we needed, isn't it?
It's exactly the type of point that she needed as well. A great return, good depth on that backhand, and then just absolutely nailed that forehand cross court.
So comfortable in the way that she plays, Lily Miyazaki.
But again, you see that this is what happens when Grace drops the ball short. Again, she doesn't hit it with enough depth. There we go, Lily's just standing inside that court and just knocking off that forehand.
Yeah, very easy for the top seed, Lily Miyazaki, 351 in the world, looking to step up on the ITF circuit. And the ITF circuit hoping to return in August as well. There's discussions about some tournaments, discussions here at the National Tennis Centre, potentially about bringing some tournaments here so people can play, British players, anyone that can get to compete. But it is going to be difficult because there are going to be fewer events for the players, and so there are going to be more people trying to get into those events.
The events are going to be incredibly strong. I think you're kind of going to have a pretty high ranking to get into them, and they are going to be very competitive, like you said.
But very helpful for British players if there are a few events here, because you don't have to travel and spend money on hotels and flights.
And not have the worry either about having to go abroad or anything like that. It does make you have one less thing to think about.
Again, a chance for Piper. Try and draw this level at deuce and maybe attempt to break the Miyazaki serve for the first time in this match.
Or not.
Or maybe not, yes. An ace to take that game. 4-2, 6 love up. And what would be the next step for somebody like Miyazaki, who is 24 years old? She went through the US university system, which so many players are doing now. She went and did that. So she's now presumably starting out and trying to get her ranking up.
That's correct. I think she'll be looking to play as many of the ITFs as possible and keep progressing. Obviously, she had a good victory just before lockdown.
She was at the University of Oklahoma and was #1 singles player for the entire 4 years that she went there. That NCAA system that they have over there is invaluable to a lot of these players, and so many British players are choosing that route now, aren't they?
They really are. It's an incredibly clever way of doing it. You combine obviously the education with a great level of tennis out there. I think someone like Paul Jubb's a prime example. Obviously, he had so much success winning the NCAAs out there, and you can see that that's really propelled him. You know, sort of looking back from the grass last year into what he's been able to achieve so far.
Cam Norrie did it as well and came onto the circuit very successfully. A lot of the women's players choosing to do that option, as Miyazaki has done. Piper at the moment is doing mock exams in the last few weeks at the same time as playing on this British tour, and she has made 2 finals as well. And a break of serve. And a very successful break of serve from Miyazaki there. It does seem to run away with her every now and again, the service game for Piper, when she seems to be coming back into the match, and then she's lost a couple of games to love on her own service.
This kind of been the theme of the match so far. You kind of get the impression that you feel like she's getting back into it, and then all of a sudden Miyazaki is able to just throw in a game of real quality, and especially on that last one you showed the real return prowess that she does have, and Grace doesn't have any answers, and it's going to take something special. She almost needs a miracle to find a way back into this second set and keep this match going.
Well, she has said that she just fights and keeps going, and that's what she was doing yesterday in the semi-final, just making sure that she held on, and that's all she can do now. The problem is she's got Miyazaki coming out to serve for the match, and she hasn't managed to break the Miyazaki serve yet. Top seed here, 5-2 and 6 love up. This is the women's singles final of the LTA British Tour Return to Elite competition, the final leg of this swing, and the top seed Miyazaki serving to take the title.
Just needs to find a few more of those returns from somewhere.
3 more of those, and this game would help her out. Grace Piper, 17 years old, playing in a final for the 2nd week at this British Tour event. She was in the the Division 1 Progress Tour final last week against Emma Wilson. She won that title, and then she beat Emma Wilson again yesterday in the semi-finals. Piper really has to step up and take every opportunity she has now. There's no point doing anything else really at this stage of the match, is there?
Not at all. She's kind of have to go for it, really. She's proven that just making balls isn't going to get it done.
Not against somebody of Miyazaki's ranking. Oh. Well, Piper has had definitely the better of the net chords so far. That one goes Miyazaki's way, and she is 2 points away from taking this title in week 4 of the LTA British Tour. That brings up match point for the top seed.
Okay, set match, Miyazaki. 2 sets to love, 6-2.
That is the score, and the tap at the net, no shaking hands. Miyazaki, the top seed here, ranked 351 in the world, has taken the title in week 4 of the LTA British Tour return to elite competition. She has beaten 17-year-old Grace Piper, 6-love, 6-2, finishing off with an ace. Just to mention that over on court 1, Charles Broome has taken the first set 7-6 after a tiebreak against Henry Patton. That final is on court 1, and you can watch it on the LTA channels. But we'll hear from Miyazaki in a moment. She is the winner of this week's week 4 competition, beating Piper.
Another impressive victory for our top seed, Lily Miyazaki. Lost just 9 games rather, sorry. And showed her dominance as the number 1 seed. I think she'll be very pleased with her week's work. She'll be stepping back onto court this afternoon with Emily Appleton. They're the top seeds in the doubles fast 4 format here at the National Tennis Centre. It's going to be a busy day for her, but I think she'll be very happy with her start to the morning. Another dominant victory, and it'll be interesting to hear what she has to say. We're just setting up for the presentation on court. Not the usual way that we do this, but obviously having to follow all the safety regulations. And now we will be hearing from Richard Joyner to start the presentation.
So, ladies and gentlemen, our runner-up for the ladies singles final today. She's had a great 4 weeks here at the National Tennis Centre, was the winner of the event last Sunday. Our runner-up, Grace Piper. And our champion for this week, she won the doubles here with us 4 weeks ago, has got the doubles again later this afternoon. Our champion, Lily Miyazaki.
And I believe we can now hear from our runner-up, Grace Piper, who's joined by Carthy.
Finals in the space of a week. How did you find your play today?
It was tough. She played really well, and so I wasn't able to get a rhythm going in the first set. And I think in the second I was pulling it back a bit, but ultimately she was too good.
You had a fantastic semi-final yesterday, and you were saying that you just managed to keep in each game and make sure that you were there. You said you came back into that second set, and it looked like if you could have held onto your serve or maybe broken her, then you could have got more into it. Did you feel that your serve was letting you down a bit today?
Yeah, a little bit. Wasn't quite as consistent as it has been other matches, which was a bit disappointing. But nothing I can do really.
And what kind of experience, how have you found the experience of the last few weeks? You've played most weeks, you won the title for the Division 1 Progress Tour last week. How have you enjoyed the experience here?
It's been really good, especially after a couple months of not playing. Just getting back into the match scenario, it's just been really good, and I think they've been held really well.
What have you learnt from maybe talking to the other players and speaking to them, because you don't get the chance to do that all the time, and maybe get some tips from them?
It's just find out what they do to train and stuff, and how we've all been getting through lockdown. But it's all quite similar.
Yeah, I imagine it has been. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
And now we'll hear from our champion this week, Lily Miyazaki.
Congratulations, Lily. It's been a pretty successful few weeks for you, hasn't it? What does the title mean today?
Yeah, I'm definitely really happy with the win today. I thought I played a pretty clean match, but credit to Grace. You know, she's been playing really well this week and last week as well. She made it really tough for me today, but yeah, I'm happy with the win today.
You haven't really been troubled that much this week. You haven't dropped a set. You've barely dropped many games over your matches to get through to this final, and even in the final. How do you feel you've been playing?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was obviously ranked a lot higher than most of these girls and probably have a bit more experience. So, I mean, I think I just tried to play to my game and then impose myself as much as I can, and I think I did that pretty well. And I think even though the scoreline was easy, sometimes the matches didn't really reflect the scoreline. So yeah, I'm happy with this week.
I think that's probably how today's match is 6-love, 6-2. I don't think the match really reflected the scoreline. Sorry, reflected the play. Did you feel like that?
Yeah, no, I think Grace definitely played really well. I think sometimes I was feeling kind of under pressure, but I think I just served quite well in the key moments, and I think I just played the big points better than her, maybe with experience and stuff like that. But yeah.
Do you feel a bit more ready now to go out onto the tour again, having had a few weeks of the British Tour here and the UK Pro Series? We've had competition in this country for the last month. Has that helped you to get ready again?
Yeah, for sure. I think these matches definitely help, because you can train all day, but it's just not the same as doing it in pressure situations like this. So I think I definitely feel a bit more ready to go out on the tour if it resumes in the next couple of months. And I think I'm I and all the other players are really grateful to the LTA for putting these events on, because it really helps us as players.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Lily Miyazaki.
Thank you.
Miyazaki is the women's winner for the LTA British Tour Return to Elite competition, week 4.
And that was a great win for our number 1 seed, Lily Miyazaki, taking home the title. She'll be back on court later on this afternoon as the number 1 seed, with Emily Appleton taking to the court for the doubles fast 4 format. That'll be starting at 12 o'clock, so join us here on the BBC and also on the LTA's Facebook and Twitter and YouTube accounts. 12 o'clock again for the doubles fast 4 format.